What's up guys, Hanish here, and today I want to talk about the faction rally. I'm going to highlight who is currently leading this faction rally. I'm sure many of us have guessed who it is already. It's kind of in the video title as well, so ripperoni on that. But I wanted to talk about some kind of fundamental issues that I see in the faction rally. In particular, I will focus on weapons quite a bit, and obviously this is stuff that affects the entire game, not just the faction rally. But live events in Destiny historically have been, good ways to kind of excite people, even if it's for a particular weapon or something. And I just don't feel like these events are meeting their potential in that respect. So let's not beat around the bush anyway. The faction currently leading the rally is New Monarchy. So at the time of posting this video, New Monarchy have 63,022 reputation packages. Dead Orbit are in second place with 54,924, and then FWC have 54,654. And like I said, that's at the time of recording this video early on Friday the 23rd. So it is looking like New Monarchy are gonna get the win once again. Not only that, but FWC are actually in last place once again. So there's the kind of information on that front. But now I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So of course, when it comes to the loot in the faction rally, there is the armor and the ornaments. And I think generally a lot of people are very impressed with the New Monarchy stuff. That's not to say that people don't have their own opinions. There is other armor in the game and plenty of people wear it. But I think in Destiny, or any kind of fashion really, there is always one set that you'll get a very large number of people to gravitate towards. And right now, New Monarchy are certainly doing that in my opinion. And that's kind of an interesting point, isn't it? Because of course, the armor is there for an entire season, and it's going to have quite a big influence, really on what people do. More importantly though, we have featured weapons. And I say more importantly because I feel like weapons have always been a bigger driving factor for players. And it's kind of interesting because there is this conversation about cosmetics in the game. Players say we don't care about cosmetics. And I kind of agree with that, but I think also it's kind of not true, because I think players do care about cosmetics when it's kind of the icing on the cake, the stuff on top of all of the depth that you have in actual gameplay. And I think that's where it's lost a little bit in D2, it's become too important. Players stop caring about cosmetics because they don't have any depth. They're not meaningful in terms of gameplay. And that whole thing is a big cycle, If you have weapons, if you have perks that do big things that change your gameplay, that take some kind of investment to unlock or to attain, that's ultimately the reason that people do things, If the thing that you get at the end of all of the work is actually exciting, then doing the work kind of becomes exciting as well. And that's what happened in Destiny 1 a lot of times. But I don't feel like weapons are necessarily having the right amount of influence on the faction rally, and there is a reason for that. In terms of the past couple of faction rallies, New Monarchy did have the Loquitur, and right now they have the low rate of fire pulse rifle. Both of these weapons have been, kind of out of the meta in terms of archetype performance, and most people know that going in. Previously, Loquitur was up against two other auto rifles, which were probably, for most people, objectively going to be better weapons, or at least they were the safer options, We know these weapons are going to be pretty good, but I think what Loquitur provided was the possibility of something that generally, isn't that great actually turning out to be pretty decent because of its bonuses. And I think there's kind of a similar thing going on with the pulse rifle right now. Although I do have to say, I think Bungie are focusing way too much on archetypes that don't perform very well currently, at least. I mean, look at the FWC scout rifle. It's in the lowest rate of fire class of scouts. Generally, people just do not gravitate towards these because they do not compete in any kind of content versus the other scout rifle archetypes. And it is pretty similar with the pulse rifles as well. These low rate of fire pulse rifles aren't fantastic. Of course, that can change in the future. I'm not saying that Bungie just shouldn't utilize these weapons, but I do think they should focus on stuff that they know is going to be good and is going to be used more, and then look for the right times to introduce other weapons. Hey, we just buffed the low rate of fire pulse rifle. Let's make one with really good perks and immediately drop it into the game after we make that buff. Weapons just don't feel as vibrant as they used to. And I feel like that's having a negative effect on the faction rally. And for the moment, I'm trying to keep random rolls kind of out of the conversation. It is a conversation I've had quite a few times here, and I know most players would prefer to see random rolls. That's most players. I'm not saying everybody. Most of you guys will know that personally, I am one of those players that preferred random rolls on weapons. But even if we put that aside, at least in terms of complete randomization, when the Iron Banner rolled around in Destiny 1, players were incredibly excited to see what weapons were going to pop up. You know, what would the featured weapons be? What bonuses would they have? I remember posting numerous videos of Iron Banner inventories where it was literally like, holy shit, this scout rifle is dope. My comment section would, you know, very much reflect that. People were excited about these weapons. I'd go on Twitter and someone would have posted this week's roll on the palindrome or a faction gun, whatever it was, the wounded scout rifle. And I'm not trying to be as granular as we need to just do what we did in Destiny 1. The point I'm making is that I think weapons and weapons in Iron Banner, faction rallies in Destiny 2 need to be more exciting because they are incredibly important to the game. So how is it that Bungie can do that? Well, firstly, I'm not a game developer. I don't hold the answers here, but as a player, you know, responding on impulse, I feel like we just don't have enough perk possibilities right now. Even in a world where there are fixed roles, it doesn't feel like enough weapons are being crafted in a way that is going to really excite players. And a part of that is the general sandbox, the tuning of those archetypes, also the tuning of the perks. Just an example off the top of my head, Firefly or the new Dragonfly. We hear about these exotic buffs that are coming to the game. We need to see buffs to those perks as well. Make Dragonfly awesome. Bring Firefly back. It's kind of an important discussion right now, and I think they need to make sure they're focusing on perks and possibilities and making different weapons interesting while they do all of their other sandbox stuff, because we're gonna have a new infusion of weapons for Season 3 with the next expansion, and that's the first opportunity coming up where they can really look at some of these weapon roles and attempt to make them much more exciting. And I feel like quite a few people would agree with me when I say, if New Monarchy are winning these faction rallies because of their armor, the cosmetics, then I think that's kind of a problem with the game right now. So let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section. I'd be really curious, you know, why do you pledge to particular factions? What's the number one reason? Are you more interested in armor and ornaments right now? Does New Monarchy's, you know, armor and ornaments, the cosmetic side of things, does that influence your decision more than the weapons? I'd also be curious to get your opinions on the weapons that we see in these events and the weapons in general in the game. You've heard my opinion, so I don't want to repeat myself on any of that stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you have found this conversation interesting though, or agree with any of the points, a like is very much appreciated. If not, the other button is always an option. If you did enjoy the conversation and you want more Destiny 2 content, feel free to hit that subscribe button. But for now, I hope you guys have an awesome day.